Hello and welcome to Mousecast, the podcast where the mind meets the magic. That's right. We all know you do it. I do it too. We're just dancing during that theme song every single Tuesday night. We want you to come join us and dance along to that theme song. We're live every Tuesday night right here on Facebook, right here on YouTube, and we're right here right now with Megan and with Matt. Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Tuesday night. It's Mousecast time.
It is. We're like, I hate to say this because I know that there are people who have children who will be going back to work, but like we're pretty much at like the halfway point, maybe even more so for certain people for the
Yep.
summer. And it's getting hot and getting busy with all the summer stuff that's going
It
on.
is. July has arrived, which for many of you that are dealing with summer break, it's halfway gone, just about. So that means you've got to get ready and enjoy more opportunities to spend great time at Walt Disney World, Universal, Disney Cruise Lines, and more. And you know what? We think that this is a good topic tonight to talk about because we want to bring more value to your Disney vacation. So we've got some ideas of ways that we think that Disney could bring value to a Disney vacation. We've got a number of different topics that we wanted to kind of bring up. And this is all coming out of a discussion we had several weeks ago about bringing value to a Disney resort. And so go ahead, Megan.
I think it's also important that this topic is not about how to do Disney cheap. That's not what we mean.
No.
We mean adding value. And we're going to talk about every single level. So this
Yes.
isn't a talk about how to do it on the cheap or how to save money doing Disney. This is how do you add value to whatever your Disney vacation looks like,
Right.
whether it's 3 days or 10 or at the value or a deluxe, whatever it may be. Which
And then also ideas that we have about, what are things that maybe we think Disney could do as well to kind of help amp all that up. And so there's two different groups that we wanted to kind of look at for two sides of the spectrum. And the first side of the spectrum is bringing value to value. And so, you've got your value resorts, and really in thinking about value resorts, one of the areas that I wanted to I thought we should focus on are families, and especially families with kids, because, a trip to Walt Disney World has almost become like a rite of passage. That this is something that is part of the quintessential American childhood. That, growing up, we went to Disney, to Walt Disney World, maybe Disneyland. So I think one way to do that, and I was talking with some folks about this ahead of time to kind of gauge their thoughts, and it was an interesting bit that was there. There was a lot of focus on child tickets and the price of the child ticket. Now, let's do a little bit of review here. So a Disney, and Hawk has now joined us as well. Welcome, Hawk. How are you? How are you? A Disney child is ages 3 to 9. So as soon as a kid hits 10 years old, they are what we like to call in the travel agency world a Disney adult. And a Disney adult is anybody age 10 and up. And by the way, that applies not only to tickets, that really applies to dining. It's pretty much everything. Now, yes, you can order off the kids menu, but they start to see you as a Disney adult once you hit age 10. So I think
if
that
you're doing the dining plan, you're going to pay an adult price for that 10-year-old, which is
Bingo.
the really big piece there is the dining plan.
It is. It's the tickets and the dining plan. That's where all that hits. So I think the first way to go is, what are ways that number one, that you can save for families, when you have younger children, and I'm thinking younger in the form of not only the toddler but also the junior. So anybody who's maybe 15 or under, that how can you, number one, what are some ideas for doing savings currently that you can do right now, but also ideas that what do you think Disney could do when it comes to savings for families, especially when it comes to child ticket prices. So Megan, I'll let you kind of start off the discussion.
The thing that kind of hit me talking about families, and this certainly pertains to those staying at value resorts, but also at any level resort. If you've got kids, usually sometimes you've got a split in age. So you've got a teenager, but you also have a younger one. Or you've got one kid that like loves the thrill rides and one that really is not going to do them. One of the things that I like that Disney does when it comes to its lightning lanes is that you don't have to purchase like multi-pass, for example, for every single person in your family, or do it for every single day. And when you tap in for, now this is not, technically, I guess, I don't know that it's not above board with Disney, but they're not going to tell you to do it this way. But you don't just tap your finger when you go into the ride, you just tap your band. And so if you have maybe two kids, and obviously the bigger families get, there's a little bit more thought that has to go into every vacation, right? But if you have two kids and you have one that like maybe is old enough to ride some of the bigger rides, you've got another one who's more like a small world enthusiast, and you get maybe a lightning lane multipass for a parent and one for one of the kids, or you get two multi-passes for the day, and then you split them. And you send mom or dad with the kid on the thrill ride while the other one does something more low key, and then you swap because the bigger kid or the thrill kid doesn't want to do small world, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want to spend a lightning lane, and do that. So being able to kind of split up those lightning lanes, I think is a really good way to allow families not to be forced to pay all of the money for all of the people every single day, because you don't have to do it every single day. And I like that idea that you can get them and then kind of play around with who's riding with who and when and all of that stuff. I like that as an option for families with multiple kids.
We do like that. Hey, Nick, welcome to the show. Matt, what do you think?
So it got me, Megan's thought got me thinking about not so much, it's not really a value as far as savings, but you might be able to save some time in utilizing rider swap. If you've got, I've got a 3 and a 6-year-old. If my 3-year-old isn't big enough, but my wife and I and my daughter all want to ride a ride, one of us has to hang back. So utilizing that rider swap, like I said, it's a free service. But as far as value, like you can be like, okay, my wife and daughter will go on the ride. I'll hang back, and then, you know, be like, hey, we want to, I want to go on this. Okay, tap your magic band, and I think it allows for two other people. So if my daughter wants to ride it again, basically you get to go through the lightning lane and ride it again and save some time instead of me having to, go through and wait, an hour or whatever it is and stuff like that. So it's not really so much a monetary value or savings, but it does save some time so you can kind of move along with your day, especially with little kids, so they don't get too rambunctious and be like, hey, we're bored, and the fun really starts. So
Yeah, Huck, what do you think?
I think you leave your kids home. It's an easy open. I mean, just leave the kids there. Don't trip. Look at the money you save. You're coming out wide ahead to begin with. I think there's a lot of ways you can look at it, to be totally honest. Megan, you're touching on a lot with the lightning lane. The other thing, if you have real littles, you're not going to ride a lot. There's a lot of things you're not going to be able to ride. So a lot of that is waiting in line for characters or experiencing shows or parades or other things. And if you're not a huge thrill person, not having to spend that money on lightning lanes. Here's the thing. When they had the Fast Pass and it was complimentary, it was nice because you spend a ton of money. You get to pick 3 rides that you want to do during the day. And there was a benefit there, obviously. Now it becomes questionable, like, you're almost forced to. I hope your dog doesn't poop. That's all.
No, she's apparently mad at me. She's turning her back on me right now. For those of you listening to the podcast right now, my dog is sitting there just pouting and not happy at me right now. So,
but in reality, there's a lot of different ways you can save a few bucks. I mean, you can bring food in. You can do shopping before, but when it comes to the lightning lane side, I just think now you have to pay or wait, and like those are your options. That's kind of the game. So I think, to Megan's point, if you have that one child that really wants to do Tron, maybe you just pay for them to go on Tron and let them go do their thing and wait with your other kids outside and go shopping for a minute or whatever. But I just think they're getting. It's getting a little tough to find ways to save money at Disney.
well, and so this brings up the other half of the conversation that I wanted to kind of get to, which is what are things that Disney can do? And the first I had to this exact point was that when you have the littles, and I'm thinking ages 3 to maybe about 6, 7, somewhere in that vicinity, to change the child ticket price to add 2 children prices. So the adult price, you have a child price, maybe make that ages 3 to, we'll call it 7 or 8, maybe 8.
But you know why our country can't have nice things, right?
Well, anyway. And then you have a junior price, which is ages, 9 to maybe say 14. And then adult after that, 15 and up.
Here's your problem, Chuck. And this is exactly what I just said without the humor behind it. We can't have nice things because people game the system. Like, I've seen 6-year-olds that are claimed to be 3 running around Disney before they finally, submit and start.
Well, no, you've got, how many do we have the, I promise they're under 3 years old thing like that when they're actually about 3.5? No, we know that.
3.5. I saw kids that were like 7 and 8 going through there. You kidding me? Oh, he's just really big for a 3-year-old. He drove here. Well,
in the same vein, you have, I promise you, he's still 9 years old.
But see, this is my exact point, Chuck. That's when you're opening it up, because there's no actual ID. You're getting to the point where to get tickets at Disney, you're going to have to provide a birth certificate.
Well, and it may be that you have to get to that point.
Let you do that.
The other problem you got with that, Chuck, too, is, the rides that are out there now, besides the thrill rides, the kids are going to want to do them anyway. So outside of height, requirements, which most of the slower rides for kids, there's not too many out there that have height requirements. The kid's going to do just as much as the adults. So why is Disney going to charge less for? Well,
that's why I was thinking. If you do for the
they're going to do
littles,
the same thing.
For the littles, they're the ones that will get hit by the height requirements and things like that. So
here's something I will say that Disney should consider doing, that a lot of restaurants do across the country, that I wish they did more of. And Nick, by the way, as I recall, after you played 36 last time, I did roll you around in a stroller. So, just saying, you had a long golf day. You were exhausted. But anyway, the reality is, I think Disney should consider doing a half portion. Like, it's hot, people eat small.
A half day ticket.
No.
Dining, half portion. Okay.
Portion. Like, give the ability to pay half the price and get half the serving.
Essentially do small plates, which is, I think, like Cheesecake Factory does small plates.
And be a little friendlier, that if people want to split plates, do a split plate charge or whatever. People are on vacation. Not everybody needs that. Now, I understand in buffets you got to charge what you're going to charge, because that's the principle behind it.
That's a buffet, yeah.
I get that. But in the places like the Plaza or Skipper Canteen, if you just want to eat something a little lighter or a light snack, you don't necessarily want to drop $40 on a full meal. Like, tapas go huge throughout other places. That's one of the reasons people love the Epcot festivals. If you allowed restaurants to serve smaller portions at half cost, it gives you a break. It gets you out of the, Florida heat. You sit down for a minute or two.
Hi, Kyle. Welcome, by the way. New to Mousecast. Glad you're with us. So, yeah, I think that would be a helpful bit as well. And the other one, so I'm going to go a different route. And again, we're going to run into the same age issue. So this is why we get to talk about this. And maybe we can't pull it off, but it's certainly fun to talk about. And it was something that somebody brought up with me, that they have never been, and weren't able to go as a child, but maybe as now a retired adult, they could do so. But in the same vein, as they get older, they're not able to do as many of the thrill rides and things like that. So maybe a senior ticket, and a senior ticket level well.
That's easily age verifiable. You have an ID. So, right. When you get your AARP card, you get your Disney discount. I mean, that one I think is actually a viable option. And a lot of seniors, they wind up on fixed incomes. It would be a nice thing for Disney to allow people in their golden years to come back and experience Disney at a little bit of a discount. Because let's be honest, 80-year-olds aren't walking in the Florida sun generally 12 to 14-hour days. They're coming in a little bit, give them a little time to come and enjoy it. That's kind of cool. I think that would be a great thing.
Yeah, so Nick notes that Disney is doing a percentage off resorts all year round now. We are seeing some more long-running discounts on resorts. And Tom, welcome. He says he'd rather pay full price than admit how old he is. Well, unfortunately, you and I and Hawk are getting older here. So Kyle adds they're not walking in, they're scooting in. Kyle, you aren't wrong. That's a discussion for another time, talking about scooters. But
being totally honest, like Kyle brings up a great point.
He does.
Drop the ticket price, and they're going to probably rent a scooter or own one. Like, I mean, you still have the potential to make extra money.
Oh, there's revenue there, especially, and if they start controlling a little bit more the
medics, CPR. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm over here thinking.
Here come the lawyers.
I'm thinking, they're going to stop in those shops and in the dining a whole lot more because they can't handle the 80-degree heat.
Right.
So, you are going to see more revenue.
Well, but in all seriousness. In all seriousness, and Rick, yes, I know, just Hawk. I mean, what do you know? That's just how that goes. But in all seriousness, how many times do we see folks that are going down, they're doing family trips, and who is arranging the family trip? Grandma and Grandpa. And they're the ones that are paying for the trip and things like that. So I think that there is the potential that if you did a senior price ticket, that might actually encourage more bookings. Now, there is, and in fact, Tom brings another good point. He says, and they are more likely to buy presents and or souvenirs or whatever for grandchildren. So that's exactly where I'm going with this, that if you could encourage older audiences to come down, and maybe, to Hawk's point earlier, as we were laughing and saying, the easiest way to do a kid's trip or to deal with kids at Walt Disney World is just not to bring them, that might encourage more folks to do be a kid again at Disney type of trips. Kyle also brings up another phone that says they need to make Disney themed canes and antenna toppers for scooters. So it's another great merch option.
If you do a fifth gate, you could just do an over 55 park.
Here we go.
Over 55 resort, over 55 park, offer discounted rates. You could bring back all the nostalgic original rides. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so for Kyle and
55, I'm riding Maelstrom.
Yeah, there we go. So for Kyle and Nick, and for some of you, if you're new to Mousecast, we haven't had them on for a while, but traditionally we do have the lawyers just standing right by, and I think they're getting ready to come back on scene this time. Yeah, Kyle just calls it the Disney Villages. 2 thumbs up, Kyle. Way to go. We love it. That's hilarious. That's awesome. So I do think that is truly viable. Now I want to throw a interesting little bit out here, because we're talking about added value, and especially added value to being on property. Should you do a ticket thing that's only for resort guests, like to do a senior ticket but it's only available for resort guests, or a child ticket that's only available for resort guests, or does that muddy the waters too much?
I think your issue is most of the people that are, your senior ticket people are already Florida residents, so why are they going to stay on resort to get you know what I'm saying? You might get.
I don't think that's true though, man.
No, I don't know that I would agree with that.
I don't. There's a ton of people that retire in Florida, 100%. A very small percentage of those people are frequenting Disney. I will tell you right now, as somebody that lives here, I'm 45 minutes away. We're one of like 4 people we know in our area that actually regularly go to Disney. I meet more people that will avoid that Disney bubble in Orlando like their life depends on it. Like you avoid Boston traffic at 5 p.m., that's how people feel about Disney that live in Florida. Get me away from that place. It is a nightmare all the time.
Now Kyle brings up another really good one, talking about senior discounts. Since now we're talking about tickets, senior rates at the resorts, or just an additional discount. Now, that would be, I love the idea. The question becomes, with Disney doing discounts a lot, and so they do currently, I think right now being available, if you're booking a trip, say in the next, 3-4 months, and Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm kind of going off the top of my head here, you've got a room-only discount that ranges anywhere from about 20 to 25 or 30%, somewhere in there.
It goes down to 15%.
Maybe it's 15%.
Low end is 15% right now.
You've got annual pass discount. You've got a Disney. I think there's currently a Disney Plus discount that's being
There's a
offered,
Florida resident
What-
discount.
and of course,
Chuck,
always Florida resident.
Chuck,
So-
let's address something in that conversation, though.
All right.
What's going on with Disney that all of a sudden they've got to pull these discounts, not just one or two, but to Nick's point, year round right now?
Yeah.
They're letting rates come down. Why do you think that is? What
Well-
reality is hitting Disney right now?
Well, the most obvious, of course, is that they've got open rooms. I mean,
It's the economy. The economy is not, even though there is more money being made in the stock market and everything else than there's ever been in history, the fact is inflation has hit people where it counts. People got out of COVID, had money saved, kind of did their thing, held on for a couple of years for vacations, then splurged on these ridiculous vacations for the next couple of years. That wave has kind of crashed.
yeah, that COVID bubble has popped.
Now you have people that are coming over for the World Cup and want to experience other things that has affected tourism this year. And yes, you do get some people going to Disney, but they're going to Disney for a day on the day off from their game or their team that they're following. They're not staying there for 2 weeks or doing the 14-day stays that the Europeans traditionally did. So Disney is having a hard time pulling in revenue right now. I don't want to say hard time, but their numbers are lower than they've used to be. And what's gone up recently? Cruise. Cruise is in high demand. Parks are not as much in favor. People would rather spend bigger money because they feel like they're getting more value out of cruise. That's speaking to something that Josh D'Amaro, as a new CEO, has to address, because what the wow factor of Disney has not been wowing the last couple of years. And there's a ton of construction, but rates continue to go up. There's a ton of things not opened or ready or available. Rates continue to go up. Ton of food that has closed down, or they have shorter hours. You know,
Yeah, Kyle says he drives Uber around Disney property. Says there's no shortage of UK visitors doing the 2 weeks at
There
Disney.
never have been. When I was working
Right.
down there back in 2004, holy cow. Yeah, it was so many UK people coming
But
over.
this is where we also do bring up the impact of Epic again, because it does have an impact. And by the way, speaking of Epic, probably here in the next couple of minutes, I'd say, is the premiere of the new Epic nighttime fireworks presentation. And the reason I bring this up is that, once again, Universal is listening to what the fans were saying and saying, look, we think there needs to be a nighttime experience at Universal and at Epic. And they said, okay, here we go. Here's fireworks.
and they've
so-
pulled permits for new rides. They've
Mhm.
got new construction going on as well in Epic, as well as Hollywood Drift at Universal Studios, and they're clearing out in the back at IOA. So they're continuing to
They're
do
continuing.
as well.
And I think that's another reason you're seeing all these Disney discounts, because the folks down the road on I-4 are becoming, I think, more and more of a true threat each and every day. Nick says, I think even if inflation goes from 4.2% to below 3% again, I doubt Disney drops their prices. I don't know that sadly, we'll ever see Disney drop a price.
No one ever goes backwards. They'll offer discounts. They'll do the same thing.
They'll do discount, except I will say this. Disney did recently announce for Anaheim residents only a comparatively, very low ticket price. Now, I think it's just a summer offer, and I don't think it's anything more long-term than that. But, they did, show, hey, like a one-day, one-park ticket was like $75, which, compared to is like half. But again, Anaheim residents only. So I think they're trying to hit the locals
They're
to
doing
come back.
that park thing at Disney too. The
Right.
$99 a day.
$99, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Hollywood and Animal Kingdom, I
Hollywood
think.
and Animal Kingdom. I
Animal
think.
Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand they do the specials, but we've got to acknowledge that all the ideas that we're going to throw out in tonight's show, to your point a minute ago, Chuck, you're going to get too convoluted because they're already doing too much.
There's already a lot. And so
That's why I think simplifying with seniors is a great idea.
Kyle says we need to adapt the Tokyo Disney ticket prices. Dude, I'm with you. I've been there. Actually, my daughter and her husband, gosh, it's still hard here to say that. Daughter and her husband just got back from Tokyo last week. So actually, she's probably going to be coming on the show sometime in the next month or two to talk about all the new expansion at Tokyo Disney Sea. And yes, their ticket prices are unreal. But one other piece that I wanted to make sure we save time for was another area of added value when it comes to, and Nick says, by the way, isn't Tokyo merch really cheap too? Merch, food. Once you get to Tokyo, it costs an arm and a leg to get there. But once you get there, it is incredibly affordable. Incredibly affordable. Talk to your favorite travel agent. Megan and I can talk to you about doing that. So I wanted to also get to another bit of added value when it comes to, that's right, when it comes to a Disney vacation. And it's not just about, saving on, ticket prices or this, that, or the other. Another area that I think, Disney needs to focus on, and we've talked about this before a little bit, and that is bringing added value, especially to the deluxe resort guest. This is where I still say Universal outshines Disney hands down. For a premier, which is essentially deluxe in Universal speak, for a premier guest, that premier guest gets unlimited Universal Express Pass. Now, currently, it does not include Epic Universe. Down the road, we'll see. But they do get unlimited Universal Express Pass, which is like an unlimited lightning lane for Islands of Adventure and for the studios per person per day. Now,
actually, per check-in day and check-out day.
Right. That includes check-in day and check-out day, yes.
You actually get 2 days in the parks of unlimited express.
Correct. Now, those, and Hawk, you've seen these before, those prices, that can be upwards of $200, easily $100, but upwards of $200 per person per day.
Well, it's usually even higher than that.
Yeah.
They can get even higher than that. However, what I will say is this. Disney are they still doing the thing they were doing that you can spend $400
yes.
per person and
the
get
Premier Lightning Lane, yes.
one lightning lane per person for the
only
day?
One.
No, correct.
Yeah.
One lane. So when Tegan and I did Epic, we added $600 to our Epic day after we bought tickets to get the Express Pass, which was good for one ride each at any of the rides in the park.
Mm-hmm.
One ride each. That was it. And any re-rides or like wanting to go again, you had to wait in line. And we spent a fortune. Now, we were very lucky. Tegan got granted a couple re-rides where we didn't even have to get off one of the rides once. They literally just kept us on us and sent us back through. But like going again.
That's right. We're going again.
But like that 50 the magic you can't count on, right?
Right. But to Kyle's point, Kyle says Disney knows people will buy multi-pass and Premier Pass. They learned that already. And I get you. And I'm not suggesting that Disney needs to do Premier Pass for deluxe guests, but I think they do need to do something like, here either Lightning Lane multi-pass is included, which is, when you look at how much that costs, that's not a huge expense compared to what it costs Universal.
What they should do is longer extended hours.
I was going to get there. So, yep, I'm glad you did.
Like 3 to 4 hours for deluxe guests. That if Magic Kingdom closes at 11, they do 11 to 3 a.m. Or
not just one park. It needs to be all the parks.
No, you can't do that, though, Chuck. They're not going to ever do that.
You don't think for the staffing?
No, because look, how many guests, if you take just the deluxe resorts, how many guests potentially go into the parks? Like, it's not as many as you think. So you can't justify keeping Magic Kingdom open. You can't justify keeping 50,000 people on staff.
Well, okay. So I will say, though, maybe do at least 2 parks, because one thing you also see is that it's not even every single night. on an average week, it's only what, 2, maybe 3 days a week. Nick, by the way, says remember the free meal plan, and Disney still does free dining. It is still around quite frequently. I don't think
it was never free.
Exactly. You have to pay full price. So yeah,
knows how that works.
And Kyle says, by the way, extended evening hours because no one wants to wake up earlier at their $1,000 a night hotel.
No,
and
but
that's the thing.
Point.
You're also encouraging families with younger children not to pay your deluxe prices because I can't keep my kids out from 11 to 3 a.m. Forget it. If Animal Kingdom closes at 6 and you stay open till 10, then yeah, I can stick around for a couple hours.
See, I think that where they can get away with it is on the other end, where right now what used to be extra magic hours, and it was an hour or 90 minutes on the front end at the beginning of the day, I think needs to go back to at least an hour for all the parks. They're already there. I think they can pull that off versus just 30 minutes.
But here's the downside of that, Chuck. And even with the 30 minutes, this is all that happens, right? You get 30 minutes of an extra morning magic hour or whatever you want to call it. All that happens is all the hotel guests go in and jam every queue. So when you walk in with your family as a regular guest, you're already in an hour-long line at any ride in the park. Like, that's all it really does in the morning is it's slow. I like the idea of having an open rope drop for everybody. Like, if you wanted to get up and show up early, great. You're there. Everyone can do it. You want to get in and drive in and park and do all that, that's great. If you want to open early, to your point, and do it for deluxe resort guests, it should be from like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. It should be a good 3-hour run so you could actually get – when we used to have that 90-minute run, Tegan and I could literally do all of Animal Kingdom in a morning, like in an hour. We could knock out all the rides we wanted to do as long as we could rope drop Flight of Passage first. If we were in the first 100 people for Flight of Passage, you could do every other ride in the park within an hour because 90% of people go to Flight of Passage.
Go to Flight of Passage, right.
So when you have those new rides like that, the bulk of the people are going to go there. The trick is obviously go do all the other stuff.
There you go, Kyle.
Run Disney.
Run Disney hours for early entry hours. I like that. There you go, Kyle. Now you're talking.
You can make some big money in Uber doing that, buddy.
There you go, Kyle. I like that.
And the balloon ladies can come behind and sweep everybody as the time is up. Like, guys, hurry, get one last ride in before everybody else comes in.
The balloon ladies.
Yeah, the balloon. All right, so, Matt, what do you think about this? That, is it? Let's put it this way: if you had to have a choice when it comes to extra hours, and let's say just for the purposes of discussion, it's 2 extra hours. So 2 extra hours on the front, or 2 extra hours on the back end.
I'm torn because I'm trying to also. I think Hawking mentioned it too, or somebody mentioned it. Like the people staying at the resorts, how long are they really actually staying at these resorts? Like, I feel like the way I look at it, and I'm probably completely wrong, but it's like if somebody's spending that amount of money on a resort, they're spending a good chunk of time at that resort, just either relaxing or doing. No, okay, I figured I was wrong on that, but compared to like somebody like either myself or we use the resorts basically to sleep. We might use the pool a day or two with the kids, but like I couldn't see spending hundreds of dollars per night to basically sleep there, like, and not use any of the.
Well, it's all about location.
So I can go to Pop Century, spend 20% of Grand Floridian prices, and I got access to the Skyliner. So guess what? I no problem with that. So I think.
By the way, Kyle, thanks so much for being with us. Be sure to join us next Tuesday night at 8:30. We might be live from Epic. We're going to try.
If they're going to add some kind of value to the deluxe resorts, then you've got to do something as far as like an alternative transportation, in my opinion. I know you probably can't do it logistically, but I mean, outside of the monorail resorts, going to Magic Kingdom, and I think you can loop into Epcot. I mean, getting to Hollywood Studios and all that kind of stuff, you want to add value some way, somehow, do it that way. But if we're going to add hours, I guess you do it in... I don't know, I'm torn. Maybe you do it at night because it's quieter. But it's six one half a dozen at that point because either you're gonna get
But it gives you a reason to stay at the deluxe. like that's where you do start getting into the okay, yeah, maybe I'm gonna pay $400 extra a night, but if I get 2 hours available extra time at Magic Kingdom in the morning, and then I can get most of the stuff I want to get done because it's only deluxe guests in there at that time. And then I can go back and spend 3 hours in the afternoon at my awesome resort pool that's literally a monorail stop away, and then go back to the parks in the afternoon. That's the key with the deluxe for a lot of people, right? It's easier to get back and enjoy the pool. Megan, I can see you foaming at the mouth. Go ahead.
Well, I think I kind of see the split here because Chuck originally said, what if all the parks need to have the evening hours? What I would love to see is one park have early morning and a different park have the late night, because
I'd like that. Yeah.
It is six of one, half dozen of the other, right? You've got the rope droppers in the morning who are like, I'm not staying up till 2 a.m. And you got the nighttime people going, I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. You got to be kidding. And so each day you offer the deluxe guests an early morning or a late night, and you still have more people working, but at least it's not all four parks all at the same time. But, I'd love to see something where you give them the flexibility to choose what's best for them.
And I think the key to that, Megan, really succeeding, because Disney has struggled with this in the past, is creating that stable rotation.
Yes.
So if Magic Kingdom Mondays, that's the crowd. Magic Kingdom Monday, if they want to open it up to deluxe guests early and give them a 2-hour head start, you do that every Monday. It's Magic Morning for the guests, going into the park. And then maybe no park that evening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe the next day is Epcot gets 3 hours extra at night,
mm-hmm.
or Hollywood or Magic or whatever you want to run with, and do it. And then you rotate, but you rotate so that every day at least one park has extra hours on one side, either the morning or the
Absolutely.
evening.
And obviously party season makes that difficult over at
Correct.
Magic Kingdom because they already have the late nights and then you have the early mornings.
Magic Monday, make Monday the late night,
right. I mean, there's a whole different ways that you can make that happen, because that, again, going back to the old extra magic hours, it was every day, and it was like an hour. I want to say it was an hour at a park every single day, and we were able to take advantage of it. And then you had the evening hours, and they're great for the deluxe resort guests, but there's just not enough of them.
Well,
and I like the idea, to Megan's point, that one or the other every single day.
One big difference with Universal, I do want to point out that a lot of people don't talk about very often.
Yeah.
Is Universal doesn't have late hours ever.
No.
They so in off season, they are often closed by 6 or 7 p.m.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
So they're as early as Animal Kingdom. So when you look at that realistically, they've got this great experience you can have at night there, and they just choose not to staff and stay open late and everything else. So part of that draw with the deluxe guests is they know there's a short window of opportunity for them to enjoy that day too. So that perk gets rolled into that formula as well. When you open like Magic Kingdom, I can remember going to Magic Kingdom with Tegan and being there for a 7:30 a.m. rope drop and opening show, and then still being there at 2:30 in the morning and wondering where the day went. So you used to be able to, you had time in those parts, which is something Universal doesn't present the same way that Disney does. But Disney has now taken the school of Universal with time and shrunk down that window of open hours significantly. You don't see Hollywood studios ever open really past 9. Once in a
9
while,
to 9:30, yeah.
Once in a great while till 10. Epcot almost never stays
9
open.
to 9.
9.
Most consistent thing at Disney.
Once in a great while, 10. There have been.
I have seen it 11 if they just happen to do extra hours, but it's maybe once every couple of weeks.
And then Animal Kingdom closes at 6, 7 o'clock on Disney, whatever. I wish they'd stay open at night because there's nothing better than Pandora.
They do, and this is Animal Kingdom's biggest problem is this time of year. I'm looking outside right now, and it's 9:11 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's still a little bit light outside right now. How are you going to see Pandora and it's still light outside? And by the way, the park's been closed for 3 hours. So, it's
one of the other things, because Hawk mentioned Universal and their Premier Pass deal, or the Premier Lightning Lanes, and then of course the unlimited Express Pass. The other thing that both of those two offer in terms of value is that you're not on your phones, especially at Disney, because that's the other value that you're getting. Because when we talk about value, it's not just money that you're saving.
That's true. It's experience.
The people who love, because Disney's Premier Pass will sell out. It does at the holidays. A lot of times. We've seen several days already this year sell out of those things. And the clients that I've had and the people that I've just talked to that have used it, they love it. And they say it's worth it because they're not on their phones. And that was the whole point of a family vacation at Disney, was to spend time with your family again. So despite the high price tag, there still is some added value there. And I don't remember whose point it was, Nick or Kyle, one mentioned, they wouldn't pull that price back or whatever. And Disney knows that people will pay for Premier. They will, because they see a value in that. They're not on their phones. They're not having to schedule things. They get to vacation like we did in the olden days, before smartphones and before fast passes were ever a thing. You just go and you just get in line, you ride. And, you don't have to worry about those things. So
back when they would let us spend cash in the parks.
What is this cash? You mean those pieces of paper and those coins, the little pieces of metal, circular pieces of metal? How quaint.
But there is a value there for even the higher priced items, because there's certainly a value there if you have the money and if you want that trade-off.
I think one of the big challenges Disney has faced is much like the society itself, people target this, either I've got to be bougie or I'm not doing anything, and like the middle class has all but disappeared in, like they talk about it. Massachusetts, I was just reading this the other day, that, Massachusetts, for single person, you need to make $130,000 a year to afford to live there. It's the most expensive state to live in the country, beating out New York, California, and Hawaii. Massachusetts has now taken the crown of the most.
Yep.
A family of four needs to make $317,000 a year to afford the median household income in the Boston metro area. 317. That's insane to me. And when you think about the fact that Disney trip now, it is not uncommon for people to say it cost me $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 to take that trip with family. It's yeah, whatever.
And Tom, a good old fashioned Virginia boy like me says, yeah, Tom is a Virginia boy like me. So yes, you're surrounded by Yankees, but yeah.
Tom, it's just a simple carousel of progress.
Oh, I knew we weren't going to make it through tonight without a reference.
And there's the reference.
There's our carousel of progress reference. That's right. So, yeah, it's been an interesting discussion, and we want to keep this discussion going. And so, that actually brings us to our Disney question of the week, our Mousecast question of the week. How would you add value to a Disney vacation? So we're going to have several different options. You get to choose one and only one, whether it is different ticket prices or different amenities for different guests and things like that. So we will bring this back up during our Mousecast tomorrow. Tom says that hurts, and he says don't say Yankees in front of Hawk there.
That's right. Chuck, you did bring back the leave the kids home option on that question.
No, funny enough, I left that off. It's just added value. This is to a family.
I say leave them all at home. Leave your spouse at home with your kids and
just go solo.
Trip.
Or I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people in the
there
right now that will
meet
go
friends
solo.
down there. Split the deluxe resort cost. It'll save you value, and you get to hang out with your friends instead of your family.
That's right.
Kyle goes solo. Nick goes solo.
That's right. We all just gonna go solo, or just
Solo.
everybody come down and we'll do a Mousecast meetup. So,
That's just because nobody likes me.
well, we're not going to open that up. We also want to bring up and let you know that we do this live every single Tuesday night here on Mousecast, and not only live, but coming up next week, we're going to give it a shot. And as we said, happening probably right about now down at Epic Universe is their brand new fireworks show that premiered tonight. I'm going to be down at Epic tomorrow, next week, and so I'm going to try and be live from Epic Universe, and we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we might be able to get the fireworks, and we'll give you guys a live viewing of the Epic fireworks next week here on Mousecast. We're going to keep our fingers crossed and we can pull it off.
Could be epic.
It could be epic, or it could be, we'll see what happens.
It could be a dud.
Yep. Tom also brings up, we need to talk about solo travelers. We do, and we've done some shows talking about solo travelers. Chris also says he's one of them, working on his next solo trip, and Tom says he'd be on board for that as well. Nick, by the way, says he's done 3 solo trips as well, and Megan also. Let's see here. Tom also said Megan is right. And then Nick, of course, waka, waka, waka. So we finish things up. So, again, join us live next week right here on Mousecast, live here on Facebook, live here on YouTube. We're going to be trying to be live from Epic Universe next week. And so until then, this is Mousecast, the podcast where the mind meets the magic. We appreciate you so much being with us. Hey, if you could do us a favor and share out the fact that you've been enjoying us with Mousecast, and encourage others to join us. It's a lot of fun when we have folks like Tom and Chris and Nick and Kyle who are all in the chat and being part of the discussion. And so until next time, we'll see you.
Thank you for listening to Mousecast. We appreciate the time you share with us. And tonight was a very fun show. And joining us is a must. This is where the mind meets the magic. We dive a little deeper every time. Theme parks, cruise ships, and travel. If you don't listen, maybe now it's time. Now it's